So this week we're going to be looking at a Trumpeter kit, their 1/48 scale Mig-3 Late version. So let's open this kit up and take a look. So as far as the external detailing goes on this kit, Trumpeter has done a pretty decent job of capturing the overall look of the Mig-3. Here on the upper cowling, we can see the triple gun ports for the 50 cal and 30 caliber machine guns. The detailing on the fuselage halves are very nice, subtle, and correct to scale. And the tailplanes are nicely proportioned and detailed. On the inside, we're not given any cockpit details or anything like that, as they are separate parts. Moving on to the wings, the landing gear bays are a little on the sparse side. Fortunately, there's not a whole lot of detail that goes into them, and which is a little bit of a bummer, but nonetheless doesn't take away too much from the kit. You're also given a space for the radiator to go, which is done separate as a separate part. Overall, the detail on the wings is also very nice, and you're given separate slats. Next up, we have the landing gear doors, the prop, spinner, landing gear, exhaust vents, and the munitions. Overall, these are all nicely done. The one exception being here on the exhaust ports, as they could be a little bit entered, but overall it's still nicely done. You will have to open them up, as unfortunately they molded them as a single part without any of the tubing. Prop as well is nicely rendered, as is the spinner. Tires are two separate parts, which will need to be glued together, but the tread detail is nice and shallow. Okay, continuing on. Now, the cockpit is where this kit is, I would say, the weakest. Now, it does incorporate a lot of side paneling detail. However, a lot of this detail is on the mushier side. It could be a little crisper in the rendition of it. In addition to this, the front instrument panel is almost unusable. There's almost no detail, that you can barely pick out where the gauges are, and there's no detail to those gauges, and they don't include any type of decal even to represent these gauges. So that's a bit of a disappointment, especially given the amount of detailing they do, again, on the sidewalls. I thought that inclusion is a nice thing to see, as it does allow you to get a lot of the detail without having to go after market. But then again, as I said, it could be a little crisper, but it was a good attempt. In addition to this, we have some other odds and end parts, flaps, like I said, the radiator and a couple different parts for it, as well as the radio deck, which is one of the features of the later Mig-3. The canopy parts are nice. They're a little thick, but they're definitely more than workable. It's also very nice to see the amount of the edge detailing on the frames is good, so that will make masking these parts a lot easier. Now, you're given two separate marking options, one for a winter aircraft, or excuse me, three marking options, my apologies. Two in the sort of spring-summer camouflage, and one in winterized. Now, if you actually look at the box art, you can tell that this is more the spray over styling instead of the factory white color. So your best bet if you do go with the winter version would be to initially paint it the summer green coloring and then overspray it with the white. That way you still get a lot of the green showing through underneath the white paint while still maintain the main white. Fortunately, I forgot to open up the decal bag when I was prepping. As far as the decals go, I can get this thing open. Again, apologies. There we go. Sorry about this. Okay, moving on to decals. They're nice, they're crisp, sharp, and in register for proper coloring. Nothing to really complain about. Trumpeter did a good job with the decals. So let's move on to the instruction sheet. They do give you this nice large instruction sheet for you to work from, which makes it a lot easier to pick out all you need to do for the different steps. Like most aircraft, it starts in the cockpit and you sort of build it up from there. Overall, it's nicely presented and makes it really easy to follow and understand what all you need to do and when you need to do it. This makes the build sequence at least fairly easy to follow and more beginner modeler friendly. Only real places I saw that could cause issue is some of the alignment, just making sure you get it all properly together. Beyond that, though, it's not a whole lot to say as far as potential areas to get tripped up on, and yeah, which is always a nice thing. So overall, I would say this is a pretty nice little kit. It has issues in the cockpit, most definitely, but a lot of that detail ultimately is going to get closed up once you put the canopy together and seal up the cockpit. So it's not the end of the world. I would definitely say if you really want a more accurate looking one, to invest in photo etch or aftermarket resin cockpits. But with that one exception, the kit's a decent kit. I picked it up for about $20. So for that amount, I can't complain. It gives you a lot of bang for your buck. Overall, yeah, I definitely would recommend this kit based on the initial review. And if you're into World War II aircrafts, definitely get this. If you're into Russian aircraft, get it. If you're looking for a kit that gives it somebody who wants to develop their modeling skill, get it. It's definitely one to look at. So that was a look at Trumpeter's 1/48 scale Mig-3 Late version. Until next time.